It's you. Dare a drink.
Dare.
I dare you. Pick anyone in the room. Go and give him a twerk session.
Who's it gonna be?
All the way out. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Brooke Ashley, and today we are here to discuss Summer House Martha's Vineyard Season 1, Episode 5, and this episode was hands down their best episode so far. This season has definitely gotten off to a very slow start, but I said, okay, Episode 5, things are finally picking up. Thank you, Jesus, won't he do it?
Thank you, God. Thank you. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you.
But y'all, I have so much to say. From Bria's constant whining, she's really aggravating me, I have to say. A lot of this cast is irritating me, but we'll talk about that more later on. But between Bria and her nonsense, Simon and the gifts, Jasmine and Jordan's conversation, and then what Jasmine admitted at the dinner table in those last 30 seconds, yeah, I have quite a lot to say, as you guys can imagine. But you guys already know how we do over here. Let's just jump right on into it because you guys already know that we don't have a minute to spare. Now we start off this episode right where we left it off last week with Bria and Silas still going back and forth. Bria is angry because she feels like Silas and Jasmine are going back on their word regarding Simon staying for the last week. I already gave you guys my opinion in the last recap. Bria, if Simon has all this money, if he's so well off, then it should not be an issue for him to stay in a hotel for 3 days. You guys are already staying in Martha's Vineyard during the off season. Those hotel prices are extremely cheap. So again, I don't understand what the real issue is about Simon not being able to stay for the whole week. She's had free reign in this house to do whatever she wants. Preston had me screaming. He was like, who knew this would cause this battle royale between both of them over Simon staying for a full week? Then he says that they're both right about each other. So we see Jasmine screaming. She's like, Bria, stay in your room. Stay in your room. I said, okay. It was giving very much a mom reprimanding her child. So, of course, Bria's on the phone with Simon. She's complaining about how they don't want him to stay the whole entire week. And she's like, babe, I'm going to pack my stuff up and leave. Now, I said, Bria, we know good and damn well that you're not going anywhere. Like, I hate when people say that. Y'all are not quitting a Bravo show. Y'all do not want to give up that Bravo check. You guys are not passing up that opportunity to give up this airtime, this platform. So please miss me with all that, oh, I'm leaving. Like, girl, shut up. No, you're not. And let me tell you something. Had I heard Bria complaining about she wants to leave, I would have packed her bags for her and escorted her right out the house. Here, girl, your Uber's right here. Have a safe flight. Get back on the ferry and go back to the city because I don't want to see you. She would have been out the door. I feel like Bria's forgetting that she's a guest. She's not the host of this trip. If she were the host, she could have anybody she wanted to staying for any length of time. But you're a guest. And now you want to bring your man for the whole week. And if you grew up so well, then you should know that etiquette states that when it comes to being a house guest, the customary time length is 3 days. And like I noted, you're a guest. So to have the audacity to want to have your guest stay for this extended length of time, you're out of order. From the dog to Phil to getting Mariah kicked out, it really feels like it's been Bria's house. And when Bria kept saying, it's just not fair, 3 days, because I want to bust my nut too when my man comes, I'm like, yeah, you can do that in a hotel room. Like, I don't understand what's not clicking. But then you know what? It really dawned on me that the reason why Bria's upset, she doesn't want to stay at a hotel because she feels like she'll probably miss camera time. So I can understand her wanting to be with the group and not being off site. When they flipped back to everybody in the living room and Jason was like, what are we even arguing about? Like, I just got here. Can we have a conversation about this? Like, what's going on? I would have been pissed too. Like, my first night here and you guys are already showing your asses. So of course there's another house meeting and they all have to vote on if it's fair for Simon to stay the full 7 days or if he has to be out by 3 days. The votes are pretty split. 4 people voted for Simon, I think, to stay for only 3 days. And the rest of them were all like, look, I really don't care as long as you guys stop arguing. Summer said, I don't feel like I'm qualified to vote because I just got here. Jason and Preston both had me in tears because Jason said, I feel like this house is like Survivor, where we're kicking people off the island every day. Preston was like, is this what straight people do? So, of course, we flip right back to Bria in her room. She's still on FaceTime with Simon. She's like, you know what? I'm going to go home. Simon's like, look, babe, I already booked my flight. I'm coming there tomorrow evening, so you better be there. And then she's like, you know what? You're right. I'm going to stay. I'm not going to let them force me out the house. I said, again, you were full of it. You know you didn't have any intention on leaving that house. So you weren't fooling anybody. It was so fake. It was so forced. You just wanted this moment. But at this point, we see everybody just trying to have a good time, trying to enjoy the rest of the night. And they're in the hot tub except for Bria because she's in bed with her dog and Alex was sleeping. I guess all that arguing wore Alex out. Now, a quick side note, I've said this many times before. I forget that Alex is there every single episode. I swear, it seems like he says 2 words each episode. He can definitely be swapped out for somebody else because the personality is falling real flat. It's either some of these folks are really boring, and then you have people who are overacting and doing too much because they just want that camera time. I need for there to be a happy medium. I think the people who are the most natural in front of the camera are Preston and Jason. They're not trying too hard, in my opinion. There's an ease with them. Everybody else, I think, is doing either too much or not enough. And that's no shade, but Alex is definitely doing too little. They all go to bed. Of course, we see Jasmine and Silas having sex, and everybody in the house hears Jasmine. And Preston was like, you know, I get it. Like, they're newlyweds. I know that's right. But girl, cover that damn mouth. If you go on vacation and you guys are in a house together and you have a couple in there, that's going to happen. Like, I don't see anybody having quiet sex. And we saw later on when she tried to be quiet and Silas was like, wait, what? Like, I can't do this. And for everybody who's so outraged about those scenes, they do the same thing on the original Summer House. And if you grew up watching Real World, they were doing that as well. So it's not anything new. So now it's the next morning. Everybody's getting ready. We see Jason in the kitchen and we get to know a little bit more about him. He's like, I woke up with a headache. Last night was a lot. Like, y'all are arguing over some real trivial, petty stuff. I got some real issues. We learned that Jason is a father to a 3-month-old. Him and his baby mama, they weren't able to work things out relationship-wise, but now they co-parent. So he's like, yeah, like, I got some real stuff. So to see y'all arguing about this, like, I just want to have a good time. I think that's what gets on my nerves because a lot of the arguments on here are so petty. Like, if I'm going to be in an argument, if I'm going to watch an argument, I want it to be about something substantial, not something stupid. Bria and Silas going at it, Bria twisting up Silas's words about, well, you're only doing this because Simon is white. I'm like, girl, what are you talking about? Like, it just felt so dumb. And then the way Bria behaves, she behaves like such a child. It's just hard to take her seriously. So now we see Bria in her room. And of course, her room is magically cleaned up. I said, yeah, because you knew that you weren't going anywhere. You were staying put in that house until filming ended. Like, stop all these dramatics. And we see Nick come into her room. He's checking on her. He's like, hey, Bria, how are you feeling? I know last night got crazy. So Bria says that when it comes to Jasmine and Silas, she feels like she's talking in circles. She's always repeating herself because she told them at the bowling alley that Simon would be staying with them for the last week and they said yes. Then she goes on to say that Simon's coming tomorrow evening and they're already judging him. Now, I don't think that they're judging him. I think that they just don't want to have another person there for the entire week. I think that's what it is. I don't think that it's anything to do with race or judgment. I think that Bria's trying to spin it that way so that she can look like the victim. Like, yet again, somebody's picking on me, poor Bria, First, they were picking on me about the dog, then about my friend Phil, and now my boyfriend Simon. It's always, wah, 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 Bria's the victim. But Bria does go on to add that if they say today that Simon can't stay the whole 7 days, then she and Simon are going to leave Martha's Vineyard together. And Nick's like, please don't leave. Me, Alex, and Amir will be sad. We really will miss you. Like, you can't go. Then Nick says that he plans on bringing his girlfriend, so he wants Bria to meet her. Now, like I've stated several times already, you guys are staying during the off season. Those hotel prices are quite reasonable. And if Simon has the coin that you claim that he has, there should be no issue with him booking a room for the remainder of the time. So you really sound irrational to say, well, if he can't stay the full 7 days, then we're going to pack our bags and just leave. That's dumb. Get a hotel and then hang out with everybody during the day and at night. Why is that so difficult? I just really can't get with people who can't use their brains and be rational. We see Jordan and Jasmine discussing Jordan's 1 year of celibacy anniversary, and Jasmine's like, well, what do you want to do today since it's a very special occasion? So Jordan says that she wants to have a brunch with all the girls and Preston to celebrate this day. Congratulations to Jordan, but I don't know why this has to be a storyline. It's really not that interesting. And the way she's acting, you would think that she gave up sex for 10 years or something. I'm like, girl, yeah, a year is a long time, but 365 days does go by pretty fast when you're busy and you have stuff to do. I don't know why this has to be this big occasion, but you know what? I'm all for a celebration. I don't care how small or how big it is. So if Jordan wants to celebrate with a brunch, then so be it. But I'm just not entertained. I'm a bit bored. I feel like all we get from Jordan is celibacy. I was in Playboy. I was at the Playboy Club. I was a playmate. I wrote for Playboy. I took pictures for Playboy. It's just the same old talking points. It's the same thing with Amir telling us every 5 seconds that he's half black, half Lebanese. We get it. So while everybody's getting ready for the day, Summer announces in the kitchen that she's going to be hosting tonight's dinner, and it's going to be a reggae Jamaican theme because she's Irish Canadian and half Jamaican. So she's like, guys, I'm hiring a chef. It's going to be some jerk fish, jerk chicken, jerk shrimp, rum punch. It's about to be a real feast. Now, you already know I love my food, okay? So my mouth was already watering when she said that. I said, okay, this is going to be a really good night. I said, Miss Summer, I'm liking you already. I said, you seem pretty cool. If you are ever trying to get on my good side, I don't care who you are. I love a good Neiman Marcus gift card, a 5-star hotel stay, some gifts, money, and some delicious food, all right? You can't go wrong. So we see the girls and Preston heading over to brunch, and it's a bit icy between Jasmine and Bria because of what happened the night before. So Jasmine says, look, I'm going to engage. I'm going to have a good time at brunch. It's about Jordan. But my respect when it comes to Bria, it's all gone. I'm done. But I said, yeah, girl, that tune changed when Mr. Simon came in and gave those watches, but we're not going to jump ahead. We'll talk about that later. So they're at brunch. Jordan's talking about her past situationship, how it was super toxic, and that's what led her to just take a break from sex for a whole year. So Preston's like, well, since the break is over, do you indulge in the dick? Do you get the dick? What's going on? So Jordan's like, you know what? I'm going to take my time. I'm going to feel it out. Now, again, not a whole lot happened in this scene. The conversation felt a bit dry. We've been hearing about this now for the past 5 episodes. So it was like, okay, what else? But we learned that Summer got out of a relationship herself, and she got really emotional about it. But she does note that she's feeling Alex in the house. They all point out the chemistry between them both. And she's like, you know what? When I get back to the house, I'll see what's going on. Now, I'm curious to see what the vibe is going to be like when Bria's crazy friend, aka Ashley Darby Jr., comes back to the house, Shanice. Because remember that she was kind of feeling Alex and Amir. So when she finds out that Alex and Summer have a thing going on, I wonder what that's going to be like. Because Shanice gives me that vibe where she needs the attention on her at all times. And she's especially very thirsty for male attention. So they get back to the house and we see Summer go into Alex's room and they strike up a conversation about writing. They both bond over that. Alex says that he's realizing that he's a poet now. And Alex starts talking about how he's recently gotten into meditation and he feels like he's floating when he does it. Like I said, y'all, Alex is a bit bland to me. I always forget that he's in the house. Every time I'm like, oh, Alex, hey. But Summer says that she likes Alex. She thinks that he's handsome, smart, and just nice to talk to. Now, when that chef pulled up to the house and that food came out, that food looked amazing, especially that shrimp, that rum punch. I said, I need some of that. I said, if there is a season 2, y'all better invite me. I will be on that ferry immediately. Just let me know. Just say the word. Now, I know a few of y'all might want to tussle because of what I've been saying about some of y'all on these recaps, but you know, we can get through it. You will be okay.
And you're gonna always get it again and again and again.
Now, I did get a bit nervous when Bria brought Milo out when they were eating. I said, Bria, if that dog jumps on that table and ruins this dinner, it's gonna be me and you. My heart was beating real fast, y'all. I was like, Lord Jesus, please, this dog better be well behaved and just sit there. Now, the way some of y'all need to be ashamed of yourselves because the fact that y'all could not handle spicy food, you have Amir running to the kitchen to grab a glass of milk, talk about, oh my gosh, this is so hot. I never had this before. Oh my gosh, like, you know, I'm half Lebanese. So in our culture, our food is sweet, not spicy. Now I said, wait a minute. If I have anybody who's Lebanese who watches me, please let me know down in the comments. I could have sworn that Lebanese food was spicy as well. No? I was like, Amir, you've never had any spicy food before? Jasmine's talking about, oh, I don't like spicy food either. Take away my black card. I said, girl, I'm taking it away right now. Because how you talk about black excellence every few minutes and you can't even handle some spicy food. And even your husband, Silas, was like, yeah, when Jasmine comes over to my family side and they cook, my mom has an extra section for Jasmine because she can't handle the spice. And did you guys peep Nick at the side? He had his tissue because his nose was running. I said, baby, the way y'all are doing all this over some jerk shrimp and jerk fish. But Summer, 2 points for you because that dinner looked delicious. You hired a chef. I said, go ahead. That's how you do it. That's a great first impression as a guest. Bring Summer back. Just for this meal alone, bring her back for season 2. So now they start playing this game called Truth, Dare, or Drink. And I think Jordan starts it off by daring Nick to jump in the pool with all his clothes on. So Nick's like, girl, what? This is Ralph Lauren Purple Label. Do you know how much my shoes cost? I ain't jumping into no pool with no clothes on. Now, Nick, when you got that lap dance from Summer, something must have activated down below because when you got up and you said, you know what? Let me jump in this pool fully clothed. I said, oh, okay. So what was all that talk about? Oh, the Purple Label and my shoes cost this. I said, yeah, Summer put it on you and now you can't even think straight. It was nice to see Nick let loose. I've been kind of indifferent about Nick, but he's slowly growing on me, even though I still have a side eye about this whole secret girlfriend stuff. But anyhow, I digress. So I don't know who it was, but somebody dared Amir to give Jordan a lap dance or a striptease. He does it. He takes off his shirt, and Jordan was not feeling it at all. She was like, okay, I mean, I guess. So now, I forgot who this was, but somebody dared Preston to give Bria a kiss. So Preston did it. He was kissing on her neck. He even had Bria shook. Bria was like, oh, like, that's my spot, Preston. Like, you about to get something real activated over here. So Preston's like, yeah, I know what to do. Like, I had sex with a woman before. Like, I'm not new to this. So they're like, oh, so are you bisexual or are you gay? So he's like, no, baby, like, That train left the station a long time ago. I am all the way gay. I just love Preston so much. Preston, if you're watching, I know you are because I know you guys all do. Hey, come on my channel. I want to talk to you because you really are the breakout star on this show. Like, I said it in episode 1, and I'm still saying it in episode 5, and we probably have, 3 more episodes left? I'm assuming that come episode 8, I'm going to say the same thing. But yeah, you really are, you're it for me. Absolutely, hands down. So now Preston dares Summer to kiss Alex. Summer's shy. She's like, well, I'm going to put the ball in Alex's court. So Alex, if you want to kiss me, that's fine. So Alex says, no, it's cool. Like, I want you to kiss me. Like, that's fine. Come over here. So they do a little, smooch. And I was laughing because when Alex threw that shade, he was like, yeah, it's nice to get close to somebody when you give consent. He was obviously shading Shanice because remember how Shanice had like grabbed his arm or grabbed his hand and he was like, Shanice, personal space, like don't touch me. So it's clear that he's not feeling Shanice at all and he's all about Summer. And now they all dare Jasmine to recreate her moans because she's so loud. Silas was so embarrassed. He was like, wait, you can hear us? Like the walls are that thin? I had no idea. So Jasmine's imitating her moans. Then you have Silas saying, well, I don't feel comfortable with a man listening to my wife moan. I'm like, well, you guys are having sex in this house with other people, so what do you expect? Just think of it like porn. Because if you watch porn, you're watching other people have sex and moan, right? So I guess look at it like that. It's either get comfortable, have quiet sex, or just don't have sex for these next 15 to 30 days. It's up to you. And of course, they all go to bed. Jasmine and Silas have sex. He's like, Jasmine, be quiet. Don't moan this time because I don't want them to hear you. So she actually does it. Then you have Silas saying, well, I can't get turned on. And Jasmine was like, are you delusional right now, sir? Like, you just told me to be quiet. Now you want me to scream? Like, which one is it? And she was like, you know what, Silas? Good night. I'm going to bed. So it's the next morning. Bria is preparing for Simon's arrival. You have Bria talking about if Simon isn't welcome with open arms, it's gonna be war. I said, girl, shut the hell up. You've caused all this division in this house since the moment you've gotten here. If you don't like the rules, then get out the house. Like, I was just so irritated to talk about, oh, well, if they don't accept him, it's gonna be war. What are you gonna do? You've already done enough. I really hope that there is a reunion because I'm dying to hear Bria's explanation for her antics because she acts like a child. So anyhow, everybody's pretty much split up into groups today. We see Jason, Amir, Nick, and Alex go out to lunch. And then we see Silas, Jasmine, Jordan, Summer, and Preston go shopping. And Bria's riding solo because she's getting ready for the dinner with Simon. So at lunch with the guys, so Jason says that last night was the most fun night. And then Alex starts asking him what exactly is he looking for during his time in Martha's Vineyard. So Jason says, well, you know that I have a newborn and I'm just looking to have some fun. Obviously, dating with a newborn baby is a bit difficult and whoever I connect with, they have to accept my situation. Now, listen, if I hear that a man has a newborn and is out in these streets dating, my first thought is that you are still messing around with the baby mother. Now, I know that's not always the case, but I feel like 9 times out of 10, that is the case, where there is still some attachment, some lingering feelings, and going back to each other. So I'm like, yeah, you definitely have to make sure that you find somebody who is on board with it. Because I know a lot of women, including myself, would be like, yeah, it was nice to meet you. Shout out to everybody. I have fun.
Oh! Shout out to everybody. I had fun.
I gotta be good.
So now the conversation turns to Amir and Jordan. Alex says that Amir is pulling out all the stops, showing Jordan that he's interested, but it's not reciprocated on Jordan's end. And he doesn't want to see his guy go out like that. So Amir says, yeah, I definitely noticed that Jordan's not reciprocating. I'm a man who believes in courtship. Now I'm like, Amir, at your big grown age, doing a strip tease, telling a woman that she's beautiful, that's courting to you? Where are the flowers? Where are the dates? Where are the gifts? I think it was Tamar Braxton who said, I don't know if a man likes me if I haven't seen any gifts. Like, talk is cheap. We are not teenagers where it's like, oh my gosh, he said that I was pretty. Like, no, you're not really applying pressure. Okay, you think that she's beautiful. You've expressed that. You want to get to know her, but what are you doing to actually take those steps? You guys are on this beautiful vacation in Martha's Vineyard. There's no excuse as to why you haven't said, hey, Jordan, let's break away from the rest of the group and let's me and you go out. I want to get to know you. That is applying pressure. That's showing somebody that you're actually serious. But all this little, oh my gosh, you know, I think that she's pretty and I did that strip tease for her. What is that? You can't be upset that Jordan is not impressed because that is very much low effort. This is middle school stuff and you're a grown man. Step it up. I wouldn't be impressed by that either. You want somebody to bust it wide because you said that they were pretty? Like, come on, Amir. So now we flip on over to everybody else shopping, and Jordan and Jasmine go off to the side to have this heart-to-heart conversation. So Jasmine's like, regarding yesterday's brunch about your celibacy, as your friend, I want you to have what you want. So Jordan's like, girl, what do I want? Tell me. And I'm thinking, Jasmine, do you need to have this heart-to-heart right now? And it came off as very preachy, very overbearing. And Jordan was right when she said, you're like the overbearing mom, pressuring me to pop out some kids and get married. Like, can you let me chill? And when Jasmine was like, well, don't you want a life partner? And Jordan said, I do, but I don't see my life partner in this house. He's not there. And I loved when Jordan said, I have to want it more than you want it for me. And that's facts. That's so true. You can't want it more for somebody else. They have to want it just as bad. If Jordan is not pressed for a relationship, then why are you pressed? And Jasmine, you're coming across as one of those women who is now married and now you have pity for your single friends. And it's like, oh my gosh, you know, I want you to be partnered. I want you to have your Prince Charming. It's very condescending. If Jordan is happy, if she's not complaining about it, then why do you feel the need to talk to her about it? And I hate how people act like because you're single, then that means that you're pressed. Single does not equal desperate. Single does not mean that your phone is dry. It means, I could have a whole bunch of people on my line, I'm just not interested. Or I'm taking my time to get to know people, I'm dating. It doesn't mean that you're sitting home watching the time pass you by. That's not what single means. Single means that you haven't found that person that you want to get off the market for. Like, let people just enjoy their life and have fun. But all this extra stuff about, oh, I want you to be partnered up, I want you to be happy. Who says that Jordan isn't happy? And when Jordan said, I hate how society tries to box women in when they turn 30, like, oh my gosh, you're not married yet, where are the kids? Like, I'm killing it in other areas. And it is very hurtful to feel like friends or family members are trying to almost diminish what you've accomplished because you're not married yet. Like, that's ridiculous. I'm of the belief that if somebody did not ask you for advice, don't offer unsolicited advice on what they should do, especially when it comes to love and relationships. It's one thing if Jordan asked you, it's another thing for you to just bring this up on your own. Like, oh my gosh, I don't think that you're happy. What do you want? That's rude. You're overstepping. And I was on Jordan's side because I would have been pissed off at you as well. And Jordan said, it's not that I feel like I'm being judged. I feel like it's a projection. And when she added, Jasmine needs to worry about her own marriage dynamics, I said, she sure does. So at this point, everybody's back at the house and they're all getting ready for the special dinner because Simon is arriving and Bria is super excited. So we see Jordan telling Preston about her conversation with Jasmine, and she's really annoyed by it. She's like, why does it seem like my life isn't valuable because I'm not partnered? And now we cut to Jasmine, Silas, and Summer getting ready, And Jasmine is a bit confused as to why Jordan's angry at her. And she's like, well, she took it the wrong way, and I don't understand. It feels like every time I say something, it's a problem. And it's like, Jasmine, please don't spin this like people are upset with you because you're married. That's not the case. People are upset with you because you're obnoxious. And you're rubbing it in people's faces like, oh, I'm married, you're not, and let's help you out. Let's get you partnered up. That's rude. And one thing about it, my parents always taught me, do not put all your stock into being in a relationship. Things can change. Things can happen at any time. You can go through a breakup, a divorce. Somebody could pass away unexpectedly. And if you put all your stock into being married, then who will you be if, God forbid, something happens? I am by no means knocking marriage. I think that marriage is a beautiful thing. But you just cannot put your entire identity into being a wife. You need to find your own identity outside of that. And it's like anything. You can't put your whole identity into what you do or how much money you have or your material items, because things can always change. And at the end of the day, we're not taking any of this with us. So it's foolish to make what you have and how much money you have in the bank as your identity. That's stupid. But I just feel like, Jasmine, if you take it down a few notches, I promise you, you'll be good. So we see that the man of the hour has finally arrived. Simon pulls up in a red Corvette, and Bria is so happy to see her man. Now, I watched What Happens Live with her and Amir, and it's clear that Amir is desperate for that season 2. The way he was kissing up to Andy, I was like, well, damn. But Bria was talking about Simon has 10 inches. So I was like, oh, no wonder she's been pressed to have him come for the last week. But still, girl, if Simon has the money that you claim he has, you guys could still get a hotel. Just saying. Now, I did meet Simon at the premiere party. He was very sweet. We talked briefly at the bar. Lovely. And he's also very handsome as well. So I said, Bria, you definitely got a good one. But again, sis, next time, if they want Simon to stay for only 3 days, you have to be okay with that, all right? But Simon comes bearing gifts. He gifts them with this expensive bottle of, I think it was, tequila? And they're all like, okay, he's a good man, Savannah. He came bearing gifts. I like him already. You have Silas talk about, oh yeah, he's a great man. He's a great man. I like this bottle. I like this liquor. I said, I said, what a few gifts will do. Nick was so shady because the way he looked Simon up and down, he was like, Simon arrives wearing a velvet smoking jacket. Like, come on. I said, what's the matter, Nick? You want to be the best dressed in the group? You pressed over Mr. Simon coming in? I said, Nick, what's wrong with you? If you have all your Ralph Lauren purple label, you should not be pressed about what Simon has on. So we see them all at the restaurant now, and it was really sweet because Bria and Simon had a private room set up for them, and they had gifts for everybody. So everybody received these $800 Philip Plein watches, and then Jasmine and Silas both received Versace watches.
Bling, bling, bling. Bitches is mad.
Bria says that that was her wedding gift to them since she never gave them a gift. So you have Silas saying, yeah, you know, I love my watch. Like, you know what, Simon, you cool with me? He gives Bria a big hug. Jasmine jumped up and gave Bria a big hug. I said, who knew that a Versace watch would do all this? The way they were at each other's throats this entire time, Jasmine was saying that she can't stand Bria. She wasn't close to Bria. Now all of a sudden it's, you know what, let's just have peace. They're all having these big old hugs and kumbayas. I said, What a difference a gift makes. Y'all are so fickle. Like, y'all are really acting like groupies over these watches. And on Watch What Happens Live, Andy wanted to find out the tea. He was like, what does Simon do to be gifting everybody these $800 watches? And we learned from Bria that he's a watch reseller. So Andy was like, wait. So pretty much he gave out free watches then because that's his job. And I was like, the shade of it all. Listen, whether the watches were free or not, that is a nice gift to give somebody. So I guess beggars can't be choosers, but I said, look at Andy clocking the tea. He was not here for it. He was like, oh, that's part of Simon's job. So he really didn't buy them. One thing about Andy is high-key petty. He will get with you. Now, when Silas was joking around about how he wants to cry about the watch, I was like, no, Silas, don't you work in finance? If you work in finance, you should be touching some pretty good money, especially in New York. If you're, investment banking, all that good stuff, I said, I'm sure you can buy yourself your own Versace watch. So now Silas starts asking Simon about where does he see himself with Bria and where does he see the relationship going. Simon says that he's very much in love with Bria and he really wants to involve her in his life. So Bria's like, oh my gosh, stop, Simon. I'm about to cry. Like, just stop. I love you too. So here goes Silas giving some love and marriage advice. He's like, there's nothing whack about coming together as a union. It's a beautiful thing to have two individuals trying to make it work the best way that they can. So now Jasmine jumps in, and when I tell you I was not expecting her to say what she said, she says that it can be very isolating in a group like this to be married. Then she adds that as much as Silas goes on about how great it is and how it's a strength, she's struggling. So at this point, Jasmine starts crying and she's like, it's just not easy for me. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And everybody at the table is shocked. They're all like, what the F is happening right now? Silas looked pissed. Like, I cannot believe that you're saying this in front of everybody. And Jasmine, God bless you for being honest, but that was not the time or the place. I feel like when you're having issues with your boyfriend, lover, wife, husband, keep that between you two. I would not broadcast that to everybody. I would have kept that conversation between me and my man, not me and the whole table. Now everybody can see the cracks in your foundation. I was like, damn. And Jordan was looking like, girl, you trying to school me and give me advice, and you're over here struggling yourself. Just a mess. But I will say, definitely the best episode out of all the episodes so far. I was tuned in. And the way this episode ended, I can't even lie. I'm actually excited to see what episode 6 brings. But y'all, that was my recap. I hope you guys enjoyed, and you already know what to do. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all later. Bye.